these kids had pulled off a plot against both of you all. These children have come in here, whether they made a mistake or not, they have spoken from their heart or why they did something. You're not gonna raise this baby. See, you up at the hospital performing. Now you this baby's legal father and sitting up here and I ask you, are you gonna raise her 3 times? You ain't answered me yet, 2 feet away. Come on, stop the nonsense.
Mr. Campbell is 1,000% sure that Zoe is his daughter because her mom, Ms. Hopper, told him that he was the father. But Ms. Hopper says she was flip-flopping and now she wants to be honest and says that Mr. Campbell cannot be the father.
So you say Ms. Hopper told you that you were the father?
Yes.
And then changed her mind?
Yes. Every time we get into a fight, all of a sudden I'm not the father anymore.
So when you're doing fine, you're the father?
Yeah.
Then when you get into an argument, you're not the father?
Yes.
And so now we're currently stuck on not the father?
Yeah.
Mr. Campbell says Ms. Hopper is basically an unrepentant liar. When she was pregnant, she told him that he was the father. And now she is saying there is no chance in hell that he can be the father.
Yes, that's when she was pregnant. After she had the baby, when the baby was about 6 months old, that's when she told me that I could be the father. And like every time, because I FaceTime her on Facebook, and she has Zoe call me daddy.
I've never made her call her daddy. She does that by herself.
Well, she does it by herself because she thinks that's her daddy.
My ex-boyfriend isn't in her life.
Of course he isn't. But how did this relationship even get here? Mr. Campbell used to date Ms. Hopper, so how did the ex-boyfriend even get into the picture? What is happening here anyway?
You get pregnant by maybe your ex or maybe Mr. Campbell.
I was actually seeing both of them at the same time. And
so this wasn't a cheating thing, this was a parallel thing.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, this is what we want, the truth. Go ahead.
And I just kind of thought maybe it was both of them.
That is insane. And you know what is even worse? Mr. Campbell had no clue that Ms. Hopper was seeing him and her ex at the same time. In fact, he had no clue till she got pregnant and then told him about it. Here is how the rest of the pregnancy went.
Okay, so that's why we're here. How long did you continue this parallel affair?
For about a month. And then I was with my ex-boyfriend. He was pretty much there through the pregnancy. He was there.
Your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
So he went to doctor's appointments?
Yes. And I did give him her last name, and he is on the birth certificate.
Yeah, exactly, Ms. Hopper. What is going on? You would not believe it, but our dear Ms. Hopper has a fantastic explanation for her flip-flopping. And that explanation is that, well, the child did look a bit like Mr. Campbell as a toddler. Don't believe me? Well, listen to her say it herself.
Younger, when she's about 6 months old, she did look a lot like him. She had a lot of she had really big cheeks, she was really chunky, so she did have a lot of features of him. But now she looks a lot like my ex-boyfriend.
So you're just looking at the child and you're telling him yes, you're telling him no, you're telling him.
I've only told him that there's a possibility.
This is one very unique case. Now, Ms. Hopper has said she only said that it was a possibility that Mr. Campbell was the father. But Mr. Campbell's mom has evidence that all of that was a lie, and that she indeed told Mr. Campbell that he was the father of the child without a doubt.
Oh, okay.
And I said, okay, nice to hear from you. And she said thanks.
That was cordial, Mom.
We began to talk, and we had a conversation and everything, and I did ask her, I said, you really believe he is the father? And she said, my daughter looks like him. He is really the only possibility.
Yeah, just as we expected. Ms. Hopper is trying to wiggle out of being caught in a clear lie, but Judge Lauren is not going to let that fly. So she sits up and does the next best thing. She tries to put the attention on someone else.
Your Honor, I've given him chances to take a DNA test, and he refused to do it because there's a girl he was with. So...
Did you refuse the DNA test, Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
You did? So why bring her to court today? I mean, you refused the test?
I'm just really ready to find out or not. I wasn't in the right state of mind.
Mr. Campbell's mom thinks that Ms. Hopper was speaking to them because she wanted to get presents for her kids, and not because she actually thought that the baby belonged to Mr. Campbell. She was basically playing them like a fiddle. And it gets even worse.
What did she say?
She was just claiming how someone's dad and talking about different paternity tests with other men. And then I was even seeing...
You were talking about paternity tests on Facebook with other men?
There has not been a paternity test for her at all.
Oh, Your Honor, she has told me that she got a DNA test for the other possible father and that he wasn't the father.
Yeah, somehow I don't believe that, Ms. Hopper. Interestingly, Mr. Campbell's mother has never actually met Zoe despite spending a fortune on gifts for her. Ms. Hopper is one dangerous woman, and the only way to fix her is to see what the DNA test says.
Mr. Campbell, you are not the father. I'm sorry. I know you really wanted to be her dad. Ms. Hopper, I wasn't sure where you were in this equation. I could never get a read. But I do see tears in your eyes in this moment. What are you feeling?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping that he was.
Yeah.
Ms. Dixon wanted her husband to catch her cheating on him, and now that he has caught her, he is claiming that he is not the father of her child. But conniving Ms. Dixon isn't having it and says that Mr. Hunt, her husband, is her child's father, no matter what.
Mr. Hunt, you are convinced you did not father 14-month-old Tanea. You say today's DNA results will determine the future of your marriage. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were ordered by couples court judges Dana and Keith Cutler to appear in my courtroom after prior infidelity was confirmed in their court.
Yes,
Take
Your
a
Honor.
look.
Ms. Dixon said she had cheated on Mr. Hunt because he left her for a month, and then she had orchestrated a scenario where he caught her cheating on him just to get back at him. And of course, Mr. Hunt here did not find that funny at all.
He would leave and stay gone sometimes for periods of times.
I left for a month.
I cheated. He had caught me, actually. Had caught me cheating.
In the act?
In the
Yes.
act, yes.
Yes.
How did you catch her?
Coming home from work, and there's this car in the parking lot.
I was intentionally trying to hurt him. So I was not trying to hide that I was cheating. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
I was intentionally.
Wow, she is insane. This is one dangerous woman, and then a couple of months later, she got pregnant. But now, Ms. Dixon is saying that the child definitely belongs to her husband. What are the chances of that being true at all?
You had sex with this guy one time out in front of the house.
Yeah.
Was it protected?
No.
So unprotected sex with this guy one time out in front of your house, but when you get pregnant, do you just tell your husband I'm pregnant or do you tell the other guy too?
I never told him.
So just tell your husband.
Yeah.
Once she tells you, Mr. Hunt, what was your response?
Everything else just went out of the window. I was just happy to.
So it was unprotected. Next time you want to let your husband catch you cheating just to make him envious, try to use protection. Then Mr. Hunt drops one of the biggest accusations we have ever seen on paternity court. He thinks his brother could be the father.
My
His brother came in,
my
he
brother
didn't have
was
nowhere
there
to go.
though.
That's like my little brother. I wouldn't
my
let him
brother
sleep
was
out on
there,
the streets.
but realize I'm
Get
talking
outta
to her on the
here.
phone every day, right? And why did she mention this for a minute? And she's never said
He
anything.
wasn't even there for
So
that.
are you insinuating that you believe your brother could be Tanea's biological father?
It's a possibility.
The witness is Ms. Dixon's aunt, and she is even testifying on the side of Mr. Hunt. And what could her testimony be? Well, before she could even testify, she got into a huge fight with Ms. Dixon.
Ms. Cooper, you are what relation to the defendant?
I'm her aunt.
You are the plaintiff's aunt.
Oh, yes.
This is interesting. You believe that Ms. Dixon was being intimate with her husband's brother?
It's a possibility.
And why would you think that's a possibility? That's your family member. What makes you think that's a possibility?
I mean, because she clearly cheated.
Whoa, for your aunt to betray you like that on TV? That is something that even this court does not see that often. Anyway, Ms. Dixon says that she might have cheated on her husband, but she would never cheat on him with his own brother. At least she has some morals.
There's also been testimony that indicates that you potentially could have gotten into a sexual relationship with Ms. Dixon and could be Tanea's biological father. Do you believe you are Tanea's biological father?
No, ma'am.
Do you admit to having a sexual relationship with Ms. Dixon?
No, ma'am.
Well, we have to take him at his word. It is time to see the results and put this case to rest. Is this Mr. Hunt's child, or does the baby belong to his brother? Or maybe the child is for someone else. It is time for us to find out.
Mr. Chris Hunt, you are not the father. Mr. Stephen Hunt, you are not the father. You are not the biological.
No.
Who the daddy, Janae?
No, it's no possibility of nobody else being her dad, except for the guy that I cheated with, but
The DNA doesn't lie.
In this case, the plaintiff, Mr. Calhoun, claimed that his girlfriend, Ms. Prout, tricked him into believing he was the father of her child. After finding evidence that she had been sleeping with other men, he claimed that the DNA results would show that he was not the father.
Mr. Calhoun, you say the defendant tried to trick you into believing you are her daughter Amaya's biological father. But after uncovering evidence that she slept with other men, you are positive the DNA will prove you are not. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
It seems that Mr. Calhoun was not ready to have a romantic relationship with the defendant. Even after he made it clear he did not want a relationship, they continued to kick it in bed, and after some time, Ms. Prout found out she was pregnant.
You still continued to have sex with him after he made it clear he didn't want to be in a relationship?
Correct, Your Honor, I did.
And at some point you found out you pregnant?
Yes, ma'am. Me and a family member of his, we went to the store. I bought a pregnancy test, went back to his house, took the test. It was positive. The lines were fainted. The next day I told him and showed him the test, but we were both in disbelief.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Wow, Mr. Calhoun really didn't want anything serious with Ms. Prout. Blocking her on all social media is just very extreme. Mr. Calhoun told the judge that he believed she had taken fertility pills to get pregnant just because she wanted to be with him.
She called me and said that she had took fertility medicine to get pregnant by me, and she got exactly what she wanted out of me.
Oh, did you say that, Ms. Prout?
No, Your Honor, that was not what said. I did not take any fertility pills. Once I found out I was pregnant, let me tell you how
Now,
crazy.
who's got
This
amnesia?
is the crazy part. I did not believe I was pregnant. I went to about 4 or 5 different emergency rooms.
I mean, they were not using protection while kicking it in bed, so why doesn't she believe she is pregnant? Now, Ms. Prout had her calendar showing the window of conception, which placed Mr. Calhoun as the father of the baby. When asked if he agreed with the dates, he said this.
When you look at that window of conception, Mr. Calhoun, do you have any issue
Yes, ma'am.
with the dates?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't believe you were intimate
Oh,
on
there's no
July 20?
issue with the dates, but I'm saying I feel like I have reason to believe that she was intimate with other dudes besides me during those dates.
Really?
How do you have reason to believe that?
I have reason to believe that after a conversation that me and Miss Prout had on the phone, she told me.
Now, it all makes sense. Mr. Calhoun was not the only man she was sleeping with at the time. Funny enough, Ms. Prout did not deny messing with another man. She claimed that she did sleep with someone else, but cut ties with the person before the window of conception.
Your Honor, what's true is I was having sex with someone, but this was way before these 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks prior I had stopped messing with somebody else because I knew I was going to run into him at the party. At the end of the day, he really denied my baby because he on child support. Period. Point. That's it.
It has no. It
We've
has
been back
no
and
deal with
forth.
child
Or
support,
1
Your
minute I'm the daddy, I'm happy, whoop-de-whoop, lamb.
Now, why would she lie about the hospital not being able to perform a DNA test? What could she possibly be hiding? Mr. Calhoun told the judge that even though he had signed the birth certificate, he still had doubts about the paternity.
My doubts come from I'm walking to the store. I get to the store, I run into 2 neighborhood partners that I knew growing up, and they like, "You got a baby by Miss Prout?" And I'm like, "Yeah, supposedly." She says her little girl is mine, and they tell me that's crazy because she said she had a baby by me before. And when I asked her to produce the paperwork,
Oh boy, that has to sting. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes after hearing something like that. Now, here is the crazy thing. He was not just talking. He had evidence to prove that what he was saying was true.
From Mr. Calhoun, why you posting this pic if you said I was the father? From Kia, Miss Prout, you a dumb blank. You signed the birth certificate knowing you ain't the father, and then you changed her last name while I was still drugged up.
I posted it, Your Honor. Yeah.
You a dumb blank.
Yeah.
And the only thing I-
But now you standing here saying
Even
you the
if-
father. I don't know why you denying it. I know why he denying it.
After saying and posting that conversation on Facebook, I don't believe a word coming out of her mouth. Now, there was a witness in the courtroom, and she happened to be Ms. Prout's godsister.
My godsister was having unprotected sex with another man. Also, before he came into the picture, myself and also other members felt that my godsister was already pregnant because of her demeanor.
What do you mean?
Her mood changed. She was very moody. So when he did come into the picture, they had unprotected sex, of course.
Wow, now that has to be one hell of a revelation. Anyway, there is only one way to find out the truth, and that is to reveal the DNA test. Without wasting any time, the judge revealed the results, and this was her verdict.
Mr. Calhoun, you are the father. Woo!
Wow, that's crazy. That's really crazy.
Why are you so upset, Miss Proud?
Y'all don't know what I've been through with this man. Like this whole beef thing, I can't co-parent like that. Either we gonna co-parent the right way or it's just not gonna happen and we can go to court and figure it out like that.
Sounds crazy, but what would you do if you saw a girl wearing tight pants? Would you slide into her bed by selling dreams of wedding bells, as the man did in this case? Mr. Wiggins rolled up in court seeking Judge Lake's help to get back his family.
Mr. Wiggins, you are here in court to prove that you are not the father of Miss Dave's child, Aubrey Wiggins, and say today's results will change your life. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, you claim that Mr. Wiggins knows he's the father of your child and is trying to deny her because he already has 3 children and doesn't want to step up and be a father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow, a brief separation gave him the pass to sleep with another woman. It turned out that in no time, he was up to jiggery pokery with Miss Davis. Yet he wanted to free himself from accusations of being a father to a baby girl.
We was never together.
Almost 2.5 years?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I was
ma'am.
married, Your Honor. I mean,
Yeah, married, but
it just, you know, it kind of went longer than it should have.
But your hope is that if you can prove that Aubrey is not your biological child, that you can convince your ex-wife, you know, the woman, I guess she left because of this situation?
Yes, ma'am.
Further, the defendant claimed that they had been in a committed relationship for 2 years. The man admitted to manipulating and lying to this young lady for his gain, yet blaming her was the reason he lost track of his family. Oh my. What type of man is he?
right.
Did you think you were in a relationship?
I was. I knew I was in a relationship.
You did?
2.5
We were
years we
not.
was together.
I was telling her what I felt I needed to tell her to ultimately get what I wanted. I mean, in a
Obviously,
short
And
period.
you might have gotten more than you bargained
Right.
for, right?
He did. He did. A child.
And so why did you think you were in a relationship, Ms. Davis?
He stated that multiple times.
Was he telling you there was going to be a future?
Yes.
The next Judge Lake hopped into the pregnancy. It slipped out that Mr. Wiggins' mistress wanted his wife out of his life because she expected to have her whole life with him. So he put on his deception hat and duped baby mama like this.
So she kind of told people, and then I asked her to let me tell my wife. And of course, because she wanted my wife out of the picture, because she did want more.
You're right. I wanted more because that's what you presented.
And I was good to her. I mean, because ultimately I was trying to get something out of her. So I did what I had to do. I felt I needed to do.
Like 2.5 years, how we're not together.
However, he asserted that Miss Davis approached his wife on Facebook and disrupted his married life. Oh man, are you out of your mind? I mean, he has no control over his desires. And yet, has the defendant been inoculated for the havoc? That just makes no sense.
Miss Davis told her that she was pregnant and that she wasn't going anywhere. She inboxed her on Facebook, which
Right.
caused a lot of havoc in my life.
You wasn't gonna be a man.
Did it cause the havoc or did you cause the
He
havoc?
did, cause right.
Miss Davis immediately was like, "Well, it doesn't matter what nobody else think. Oh, I ain't going nowhere."
Right,
there was
'cause you
this-
laid down with
this
me. You
position.
Okay, so the next chronicles of Wiggins started. He claimed that the mommy had been busy with another man at the time she conceived the baby because he sent some text messages on her phone. So that's why he was denying paternity.
We got into a bit of an altercation. I don't remember the exact details. And my family member seen her be picked up by another guy
That was my cousin.
that
I
she
wasn't
claims
being
to be her cousin. However, it's a coincidence that while we were at the hotel, she happened to be taking a shower, and I think I was using her tab for something, maybe
phone.
scrolling on Facebook, and this guy inboxes about meeting her again, and she's telling him, "Oh, I need some more
I never
loving."
slept with him.
To prove his sham show right, the alleged father brought an exhibit to the court. He alleged that Miss Davis had fabricated his name on the birth certificate, but how she forged his name was quite interesting.
Einstein or anything, but I'm educated enough to know my own birth date. This is the birth certificate. Apparently she knew my name. This is the birth date that's listed on Aubrey's birth certificate. My birthday is November the 9th, 1990.
The one
this
you wrote.
says 11/11/1990.
And
I
you
didn't
wrote
write
it.
anything. And also in the state of Florida, because I was married, I wasn't just supposed to go on her birth certificate.
Until now, it was apparent that Mr. Wiggin was a compulsive liar who made sham allegations about baby mama, and he was clowning just to defend himself. Further, it came out that they were still sleeping together, and it ticked Judge Lake. So she articulated the reality like this.
At
Twin.
the same time, 2 different answers.
Right.
Exact same time.
When was the last time you two were intimate?
It's been a while.
Last night.
No, Your Honor, we was at separate hotels, separate No, Your Honor. That's not
And you made your way to my hotel.
That is not true,
Right.
Your Honor. We did go to dinner, Your Honor. But
And afterward?
I went to my respective places.
No, he came to my room.
Mr. Wiggins, you look like you lying.
No, because
Yeah, Judge Lake was right. He was playing on both sides of the fence, yet he contended that he wanted to get back his family. However, their back and forth did not help and made things more complicated. So the last hope to get closure was to reveal the DNA results.
Mr. Wiggins, you are the father. Miss Davis, what are you feeling?
I've been going through this for a long time, like between him and his wife, like.
It's his child.
Right.
You are the father. You have the clarity you need.
I'm gonna take care of my child.
Good.
That's all I ask.
But you also have to deal with this thing you all have.
Yes, ma'am.